Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS rule as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is The 10 Horns Shall Hate the Whore. So let's get some articles on this. This is from the People's Voice. It says German leader vows to sever all ties with fascist USA. And basically, the prophecy is unfolding right before you. The 10 Horns is a part of America's military might, and Germany was a big part of that. So what Donald Trump is doing is causing these different nations to hate him by, basically doing what he's doing. Basically treating them unfairly, just basically cutting ties with them. He's doing a lot, and also siding with Russia, it seems, on saying that Russia, is not to blame for what has happened over there in Ukraine. And these EU and NATO nations are upset about that, about what he's saying, because they're supposed to stand together and be united, But that's no longer the case because the prophecy is coming to pass, right? The end of Esau's kingdom is here, and therefore they're divided and they're fighting each other. It says German leader vows to sever all ties with fascist USA. It says new German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has announced plans to sever all ties with America due to the worrying rise of racism and fascism under the Trump administration. It says, my absolute priority will be to strengthen Europe as quickly as possible so that step by step we can really achieve the independence from the USA, Merz declared, right? So they're, now they're trying to strengthen themselves to, cut ties and be independent from America, right? And even Donald Trump came into office, and one of his slogans or sayings is that America is going to be first. Even though it seems like America and Israel is first, but basically fuck everybody else, and that includes his allies, which they're destroying in more ways than one, just by, siding with, Putin regarding the Ukraine issue and many different other things. And even, the talks of these pipelines that have been destroyed and talks of new pipelines to be built, it's all coming out that America has something to do with this. And a lot of these NATO EU nations, suffered from that pipeline being destroyed. So that's something you can search up on Google. It came out basically that, or it's hinted to that America had done that, right? And even the enemies of America, like Russia, stated to that, right? So they're completely divided because, they're saying, okay, well, America did it, but then they're saying, okay, the least of America did it. So they're trying to figure it out, but nonetheless, they're divided. So it says he also said Trump's recent comments show Americans, at least this part of the Americans, this administration, are largely indifferent to the fate of Europe. So what they're saying now is that Trump's administration is against or doesn't care for the fate of Europe. And that's pretty much what I went into of saying. Trump office consists of pro-Israeli individuals that pretty much are for Israel, right? And Trump says he's for America, but more so we're seeing that Israel is being helped a lot and the American people are suffering. It says Merz was not specific about Trump's comments, but the president has vowed to pull the U.S. out of NATO if member states don't pay their share. So now he's telling these individuals they need to pay, you're not paying us, basically causing problems from what was before to what is now, which I'll get in this article, right? So this new president coming in is stirring up things, and people are upset about it, these nations. It says earlier this month, Vice President J.D. Vance, in a public address in Munich, accused Europe of censoring free speech. So the vice president went over there to Europe and accused them of censoring free speech, which boils down to basically not being able to push their propaganda over there to them. It says Merz is also suggesting Europe might have to form its own military defense alliance, right? So even the Ukrainian president suggested that because they're saying that Trump is not for them. USA is not for Europe or even Ukraine now because Trump is siding with Putin in that regard of saying that, well, Putin, it's not really your fault, basically. So that probably goes on the lines of peace and safety. I'll grab that real quick. Trump is still on that, trying to bring peace and safety, and I guess he feels that just basically trying to stop Russia at all costs will be the thing to do. Is it? Let me see. So First Thessalonians 5:3. Let me grab this. All right, First Thessalonians 5:3 says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Right. So if you look at the slogan of what Donald Trump has been doing, and even leading up to that point, everyone hated Biden. Biden was deteriorating in health. It was causing all types of problems. Right. No one liked Biden. So Trump, before he was elected, he kept saying he's going to fix everything. Day one, stop the war in 24 hours. Fix inflation and drop the prices of eggs. All of these things that he said he was going to do, and he's still trying to do that, bringing this peace and safety, but it's just not working. Everything he does, it backfires. It's turning against him, and that's why prophecy has come to pass, where these EU nations are starting to hate what Trump is doing because he's thinking that he's helping, but ultimately the will of the Yahweh Bashmi Shah is being done, right? And soon to come is war. So it says, MERS is also suggesting Europe might have to form its own military defense alliance amid the potential end of decade-old NATO, right? The 32-member military alliance of 30 European countries, the U.S. and Canada, and U.S. is trying to leave this, right? And so now they're about to be disbanded. They're trying to form something new. So these are actual talks that are taking place now here in February 24th, 2025, right? It says, "I am very curious to see how we are heading toward the NATO summit at the end of June." MERS said, "Whether we will still be talking about NATO in its current form, or whether we will have to establish an independent European defense capability much more quickly." Right. So they're saying, well, we got to basically set up something else because America is going haywire. Let me grab this. It says, so this is Trump leaves Europe facing up to new era. So that new era is basically the era without USA and them hating USA, pretty much. It says, worried European foreign ministers said on Monday the region had entered a new era with US President Donald Trump's stunning reversal of decades of US foreign policy. So see, this is something that they've been doing. This plan is they've been having this plan for a while, but because of prophecy, that's being disrupted. Let's grab Isaiah 19 because we have this cruel Lord in office, as you can see, shaking what's happening here. Isaiah 19:1, it says, "The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh will rise upon his swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it." Right. So basically what's happening is the end. And what happens in the end? Yahweh shall returns. He returns with the angels, and he's going to destroy America. But before that, all these different prophecies have to come to pass, which is, tribulations, troubles, the dividing of nations, Jacob's trouble. So all these things are happening now at rapid speed. Verse 2 says, "And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." See, this is happening in a big way now. Even the states are thinking among themselves, or whether who are we going to connect to, who's going to form their own, basically just separate themselves from the United States. That's what the different individual states are doing. And it was even like that when the voting was going on for President Trump. Some states were like, "Oh, I'm with this," or "I'm not with this. I'm with the border crisis," or "I'm not with the border crisis." So they're lost on what they want to do and how they want to basically continue going forth. So they're divided. It says in verse 3, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards." So, there's no more wisdom here in Babylon the Great, and they're searching after these left-hand sources to get the understanding that they need. But, Yahweh is controls all of this, right? So they're not going to get the correct information they need. There's no more counsel here, right? The only counsel they will get will lead them to their destruction because the scriptures will come to pass, right? And the Lord has proposed that against Babylon the Great, total destruction. So nothing they ask for or try to get information for is going to help them. It's only going to destroy them. Isaiah 19:4 says, "And the Egyptian will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, said the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Lord of hosts. So this is a message to Egypt, which is a message to Babylon the Great here. And basically now we have Donald Trump, this cruel Lord and a fierce king. He's coming in and he's doing what he's doing. He's bypassing all laws, right? He's severing ties, you know. So this is that fierce king, that cruel Lord. You know, he's not caring what people say to him. And of course, you see his cabinet. The cabinet, if you look up Donald Trump cabinet and search on Google, are they pro-Israeli? They tell you yes. And these individuals will lead Babylon the Great out to war. And that's where you're heading. And that's why you have more allies, pretty much. This is Jeremiah 50 and 45. It says, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he hath taken against Babylon and its purposes, that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. This least of the flock is talking about Israel. So USA will be joined with Israel, and Israel will lead USA to war and be destroyed. So that's what's happening right now. That's why the things are happening. It says, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved and the cry is heard among the nations. Right. So when Babylon will be destroyed, the earth will have an earthquake, and it will be heard among the nations. You know, so this will happen, and that's what's happening before us right now. So, worried European foreign ministers said on Monday that the region had entered a new era with U.S. President Donald Trump's stunning reversal of decades of U.S. foreign policy, but that they still hope the relationship with Washington could endure. So they're still hoping, they're still trying to hang on to what was, but it's no longer the case, right? And we can grab this because you know they were only going to go so far. You know, Daniel 8 and 25, it says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. So, you know, for a short period of time, the Roman Empire, the revised Roman Empire, which is America, you know, prospered through their policy. But now Donald Trump, this cruel Lord, is in the office now, and the Most High hasn't given them the wisdom, right? They're seeking to charmers and idols and things like that, and therefore they're being led astray to the destruction. So this is no longer the case. They're leading towards the end when Yahushua comes and destroy them. Right, Daniel 8 and 25, it says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. So see, all this came to pass. You know, he used peace and laws and things like that to destroy many, but now we're at the end where he's about to be destroyed. It said European officials have been left flat-footed by Trump's decision to hold talks on ending the war in Ukraine with Russia, spurning both Kyiv and Europe, and by his administration's warning that the United States was no longer primarily focused on Europe's security. So who's his administration? Once again, it's the Israelis, the pro-Israeli cabinet that he has. They're no longer focused on Europe, NATO, EU. They're trying. Their main focus right now is the Greater Israel Project. So they're focusing all their focus onto supplying bombs and weapons and money to Israel so they can accomplish that, because eventually this administration, they're going to be able to leave over there and enjoy that Greater Israel, right? So flat-footed, they're surprised, and that goes into, once again, you know, this cruel Lord. So flat-footed, has searched it up. It says the idiom called flat-footed is a metaphor that means to be unprepared or surprised. For example, the reporter's question called the president flat-footed, right? So these EU, NATO nations, you know, they're unsurprised. I mean, they're surprised about what's happening now. This cruel Lord coming in and just shaking up and changing things, right? And that's Donald Trump. And they're going to hate him. So let me grab this Isaiah 19 again. See, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charms and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So Donald Trump is that cruel Lord here in the land now, right? And he has no more wisdom, and he's leading the people right into their destruction. and their allies are now turning against them, the NATO and the EU. It says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh, the Lord of hosts. Right, so that's exactly what's happening. Just someone grab this. It says victory of the land. So that's where we're at now, right? This cruel Lord is going to move with fierce and forced to bring in what the last of few prophecies. Revelation 17 and 14, it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the words which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right? So these same 10 horns that was given over to the beast and gave the power to the beast is going to destroy the beast. Let's go right here. Revelation 17 and 12, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Right? The beast is America and his system. Right? It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So these nations, these NATO EU nations, they said it was like 30 of the European nations gathered to America, have given their strength to America, right? That's why you have different military alliances, and they're able to basically go to war. If anyone attacks one state or one area, they all go to war with each other, right? They share their military might, as in sending missiles one to another and things like that. So that's why it says these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. And then it says in Revelation 17 and 14, these shall make war with the Lamb. So basically what is boiling down to is World War III. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the horse. So eventually these same 10 horns that gave the power over to the beast, they're going to start to hate this horse. And we're living in a time now where you're seeing this unfold before your eyes, right? These nations are arguing with each other on TV live. They're saying they're surprised by what Donald Trump is doing, breaking down decades of policy that they built up, right? Because their inward thought is that their generations will continue, So they're like, yo, this dude is, messing up what's happening. Is it Psalm 49:11? Let me see. Psalm 49:11 says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever and their dwelling places to all generations. They called their lands after their own names. So now you have this cruel Lord here, and he's messing things up, and they're concerned, and now they're saying, okay, well, we need to start our own military alliance and do something to fix what's happening, the problem, right? So this is how they're going to hate the whore, and ultimately they're going to destroy Israel, and they're going to destroy America, right? But this is going to boil down into war. So this is what's happening now. Sides are being picked, Revelation 17:16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, right? So that's Babylon the Great, and that's exactly what's happening. Just like I gave you Jeremiah 50 down there towards the last verse, Israel is going to draw out America to war, and that's what's happening. You have these Israelis in his cabinet that paid him handsomely, to his to his campaign or whatever. So now they're telling him what they want, what they don't want. And like I said earlier, they want this greater Israel thing, so they're going to push forward for that. And everything America do is going to kind of be aligned with that. And ultimately, that's going to end up in war, because they're going to go to war with Ukraine. And as you can see, the 10 horns, they're not concerned with they're no longer concerned with Ukraine security. So it says Ukraine. Let me write right here. I'll read this part again. European officials have been left flat-footed by Trump's decision to hold talks on ending the war in Ukraine with Russia, spurning both Kyiv and Europe, and by his administration's warning that the United States was no longer primarily focused on Europe's security. So they're focused on a greater Israel plan. This is Obadiah 1 and 6, it says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him." Right. So basically, these same 10 horns, these NATO EU nations that Babylon the Great is currently aligned with, and even Canada, they're trying to annex Canada, and they're saying Canada's saying no. Right. So it's a lot going on, but these individuals will come up with a plan to turn against Babylon the Great and burn her with fire, right? Because of what they're doing in their administration. And I'm harping on that because the scriptures say in prophecy that the least of the flock will draw them out, and his administration is all pro-Israeli individuals. And I read that part again, that'll be that. See, Jeremiah 50 and 45, it says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that ye have taken against Babylon, and his purposes that ye have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." See, and NATO, he will leave NATO.
I think he will. Look, I think he didn't during his first term because he got distracted, and that's probably my best advice to anybody in Europe or the U.S. who doesn't want him to withdraw in a second term. He's got a short attention span. Talk about something else, find something else he's irritated about, and move him away from it. Trump doesn't really understand the concept of collective defense alliances. This may sound oversimplified, but it's the way he views the world. He thinks we're defending Europe. We don't get anything out of it, and Europe isn't paying us. So why are we doing it? I think he will. Look, I think.
Right. So, most likely soon to come, we'll see Trump saying, that, he's no longer part of NATO. So with that, Lord willing, you're edified from the lesson. Stay prayed up. I'll say shalom to those elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.